and the current affairs third topic is hybrid warfare. ये हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर भी और उससे पहले फिफ्थ जनरेशन वॉरफेयर और उससे पहले जो पीस एंड कश्मीर का आपको बताया है, दे हैव फीचर्ड इन CSS examinations. These are those topics which have already featured and they may come again in CSS. So we'll understand the concept of hybrid warfare today. Hybrid warfare is a combination of conventional and non-conventional warfare. What is conventional warfare? Conventional warfare, when you fight with the weapons and the armies and the borders, and that war or a complete battle takes place, such as in 1965 or 71, etc. That is conventional warfare. But if we talk about a non-conventional warfare, that is also called asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare, when the enemy uses the proxies. Proxies in your countries are little in number and they cannot in open conflict face the state's forces. So what happens, enemy uses the guerrilla warfare against you, such as in Afghanistan. What has happened, that was asymmetric warfare against America, fought by Taliban. Taliban always came out in the mountains in little groups. They ambushed upon the big caravans and they ran. This is called hit and run, warfare. So asymmetric warfare, when the two parties are unequal in power. तो asymmetric warfare भी यूज की जाती है hybrid warfare में. So the two warfares, conventional and non-conventional. Non-conventional हमेशा इस्तेमाल की जाती है when there are two unequal parties और इसमें symmetry नहीं बनती, और guerrilla warfare या फिर और दूसरे टैक्टिक्स इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं जैसे कि टेररिज्म है. तो हिंदुस्तान ये हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर का मकसद क्या है? इट डज नॉट मीन टू डिफीट अ कंट्री इन एन ओपन बैटलफील्ड. हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर का मतलब बिल्कुल ये नहीं है टू डिफीट अ कंट्री इन एन ओपन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. इट डज मीन डीमोरलाइजिंग द नेशन, सारी की सारी नेशन को डीमोरलाइज करना. सो वंस नेशनल मोरल इज डाउन, that is easier to occupy their minds. So it's also the psychological warfare, when psychologically you wear down enemy, and enemy is tired, and then once hope dies away, it cannot fight against you. Army has said that hybrid warfare is imposed against Pakistan. तो उसमें significance, what is the significance of hybrid warfare? Demoralizing enemy. The major target, the major aim of this warfare is demoralizing the enemy, and it's not defeating the army or failing the army or maybe occupying the army. It's demoralizing your enemy, and then this is psychological game. Then you can achieve better gains with lesser cost. अगर फर्ज करें asymmetric warfare आप चलाते हो किसी मुल्क के खिलाफ, तो थोड़ी सी कॉस्ट के साथ आप बड़ी जो है गेंस हासिल कर सकते हैं. इसको ये हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर की सिग्निफिकेंस है या उसके मेन एम्स हैं जो कि किए जाते हैं. पाकिस्तान डज द सेम विद इंडिया, इंडिया डज द सेम विद पाकिस्तान, बट सिंस 9/11 इंडियाज एज was greater than that of Pakistan. Pakistan had completely cornered India in Kashmir in 1990s after 1989 when insurgency started in Kashmir. But the 9/11 completely changed the whole things, and then India got an edge over Pakistan. Pakistan was maligned and tarnished all across the world through media campaign. This was also the part of hybrid warfare, maligning and tarnishing the image of Pakistan as a terror sponsoring country, and then again using terrorism against Pakistan. That was another instrument of hybrid warfare against Pakistan. Then there are different instruments I've written down here, क्योंकि ये पूरे का पूरा एक क्वेश्चन था 2 साल पहले CSS में कि कौन से इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर के इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं. इसमें मेन तो है कन्वेंशनल एंड नॉन कन्वेंशनल वॉरफेयर. इंडिया हैज यूज्ड, अब अच्छा 2 मैंने आपको पहले बताए हैं. tarnishing Pakistan's image, tarnishing Pakistan's image, एक तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट ये है Pakistan's image, और इमेज ही सारी चीज होती है आपकी पूरी दुनिया में. अगर आपका इमेज नीचे गिर जाए तो ना आपकी इकोनॉमी सही रहती है, ना ही दुनिया आपके ऊपर बिलीफ रखती है, आप एक मुजरिम के तौर पर पहचाने जाते हैं. इंडिया हैज डन इट सो सक्सेसफुली, एंड इट ऑल्सो ओज to international strategy which changed after 9/11 vis-a-vis Muslims. And India benefited a lot from this international strategy which changed after 9/11. And then again using terrorism against Pakistan, terrorism and sectarian warfare, it was used against Pakistan. I mean, India used some of the terror groups and even sectarian groups to attack against each other and to demoralize the society that Pakistan cannot protect them and Pakistan is not a secure state for them. So this is, one instrument. These are the two instruments of hybrid warfare. Both of them are non-conventional. Then conventional forces on Kashmir. We have seen that India is putting pressure on Pakistan from Kashmir. India has many a time and several times India has deployed its troops along Pakistan's border to pressure Pakistan when Pakistan was busy in fighting war against terror. India used this strategy to deploy its forces. He deployed its forces in 2002 and then again he deployed its forces after Mumbai terror attacks, and he then pressurized Pakistan after this Pulwama attack. So many a time India used this tactics against Pakistan because it knew very well that Pakistan was busy on the Western Front in Afghanistan against the terror. Their forces were busy in tackling them. So it was an effective strategy to pressure Pakistan to come to the line of Indian policy. So conventional forces in Kashmir, they employed, that was one instrument, that non-state actors and proxies. What are the non-state actors and proxies in Pakistan? I've told you earlier that non-state actors, those which are not under any state's control, they're called non-state actors, such as TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. India supported them, and later on Daesh. There are some indications that India supported Daesh against Pakistan. Then there are much of the proofs and evidences that India supported Baloch nationalists from Iran and Balochistan, from Afghanistan. That is non-state actor. Then gang war in Karachi. Then Punjabi Taliban, then Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, all these sectarian outfits, they were used by India to sow terror in Pakistan and to fail Pakistan society. So that was another instrument India uses. And non-state actors and proxies, they act as guerrillas. This is also called asymmetric warfare, when the two parties are not symmetrical, equal. Another one is economic warfare. You will wonder that economy has taken the center stage in warfare between the two countries. Recently, you have heard about the word a trade war between America and China. Once you fail any country in trade, or once you successfully make sure that that country comes under economic sanctions and economic embargo, you can fail that state. You end the trade and economic prospects of that country, and you fail that state without firing even a bullet. So what is economic warfare of India against Pakistan? And that was India successfully isolated Pakistan in SAARC. Pakistan's trade share with SAARC countries is negligible, and the other 6 or 7 countries are with India. So India successfully did it, isolated Pakistan in the SAARC region, South Asian region. So, and then afterwards, India uses its clout in international arena along with America to put Pakistan on the grey list of FATF, Financial Action Task Force. This is an international task force, international watchdog, which supervises, which sees whether any country is involved in money laundering or not. And they have put Pakistan on the grey list, thinking that Pakistan is supporting and financing the terrorism. The other terrorist parties in Pakistan, they are getting finances, they have the financial structure in Pakistan going on. So this fate of Pakistan was, now it has become evident that FATF, that economic warfare imposed upon Pakistan, actually was the part of geopolitics, and it was not just economic it did not have economic links. So India is the member of FATF. That is why India uses its clout to make Pakistan. India's major target is to make Pakistan blacklisted, but it has yet not been completely successful, because Pakistan is mediating the peace process in Afghanistan. So America has developed a little soft corner for Pakistan. So maybe FATF, this dream of India may not realize. So another one is isolating Pakistan regionally and globally. I've told you earlier that regionally India has almost isolated Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and Nepal, and even Afghanistan. They're supporting India, and they supported India in 2014. They did not attend the SAARC summit in Islamabad only, speaking the lines of India that Pakistan is sponsoring terrorism. So in this situation, SAARC summit cannot be held. So this way, all of those countries, that was not that they were against or were opposed to Pakistan, only because they feared India, because India was a bigger country. So but globally, India has failed to isolate Pakistan. Pakistan has achieved a status after mediating peace process in Afghanistan. Pakistan has got CPAC from China. China is with Pakistan. Russia has given support to Pakistan. Iran is coming over to Pakistan to support us. And thus so many things prove that globally Pakistan cannot be isolated. On the other hand, non-state, media disinformation or cyber attacks against Pakistan. I have told you earlier, this is also called fifth generation warfare, as we have discussed earlier. That fifth generation warfare in detail we have discussed. If somebody hasn't watched that live streaming or that topic or that lecture, he can be referred back to fifth generation warfare. Another one is PAC Propaganda. Much of the propaganda has been launched by India against PAC, so that Pakistan could not get a lot of benefit from PAC, which is coming in Pakistan. As China is developing PAC, and there have been propaganda through many media channels and through social media, that maybe China would become another East India company. Maybe China establishes its basis in Balochistan. So there is a fear sowed in the hearts of Baloch what China will do with Pakistan, and whether China will occupy the whole of Balochistan. So Baloch people, they have shown their resentment against this propaganda. But this is genuinely some reason of fear for Pakistanis, but India utilized that fear and propagated it, galvanized it, and extended it. Next one is neighbor's neighbor, Chankian policy. One thing is very prominent. India, or in Indian history, there have been one great scholar whose name was Kautilya Chankiya. He was a minister to Chandragupta Maurya, and he wrote the book. He gave his philosophy. If you want to pull down your opponent to the ground, knock down your opponent, and your opponent always happens to be your neighbor, because you have to expand into the territory of your neighbor. So your neighbor becomes your enemy. So what should the country adopt a policy? He should make neighbor's neighbor his friend. So India is making Pakistan's neighbors his friend in order to sandwich Pakistan, such as India is making friends with Iran, India is making friends with Afghanistan in order to sandwich Pakistan, because this was Chankian policy, and Chankiya was a realist politics. They follow this policy of Chankiya so that Pakistan could be sandwiched and could be demoralized. So propaganda about nukes, Pakistan's nukes has been propagated since Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi called Pakistan's nuclear program the Islamic bomb, dubbing it that this Islamic bomb was opposed to American, Jewish, Christian and Hindu interests. I mean, making it Islamic bomb was was a propaganda by India, and India has generated this propaganda since Rajiv Gandhi that Pakistan's bomb is not India-centric, it's Islamic-centric. I mean, or it's non-Islamic centric. Any non-Islamic country would be under the threat of Pakistan's nuclear program. So tarnishing Pakistan's image that Pakistan is an irresponsible country. However, and you know that propaganda that Pakistan's nukes or nuclear bomb can fall in the wrong hands, such as Al-Qaeda, such as Taliban, or maybe the sympathizers of Taliban and extremist forces in army, and they can devastate the whole world. And this propaganda is also the part of hybrid warfare. The hybrid warfare, these are all instruments being used against Pakistan in hybrid warfare by India. ये हमारा आज का लेक्चर था, एंड आप लोगों को मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ, इंशाल्लाह कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं कल 12 बजे अपने घर के लॉन से आप लोगों को लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करूंगा, क्योंकि दिन की रोशनी में ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से क्लियर पिक्चर आती है। तो कल पाकिस्तान अफेयर्स की क्लासेस मुसलसल 2-3 मैं आपकी लूँगा, यहाँ पर एकेडमी में भी लूँगा, और उसके बाद मैं घर में भी 12 बजे आपको पाकिस्तान अफेयर्स का मैं लेक्चर दूंगा। आज के लिए बस इतना। थैंक यू वेरी मच।